Hello viewers and happy Sunday. How are you? Greetings from Ruai, greetings from Mama Gigi and my family. I'm hoping you're having a happy Sunday. I am. It is almost afternoon and I didn't go to church today. I'm still with the little king, but I have visitors today. My daughter is visiting. It's been a quiet week, but busy just around the house and with work and content creation and editing, and also doing some catching up with people. But I told you that some opportunity came up for me. Yeah, so I've been working on that. I'm in the early stages of making that work. It's an undertaking that I had been having last year, and so an opportunity has come to continue it. Please give me a minute. I need to shut the gate. The visitors had come in, and I always like to take precautions because once we're in the house and we are a bit far in the distance and the gate is open, you just can't take chances. Anything could happen. So I like that after the visitors have settled in, we lock the gate again and it will be open when they're leaving. But I don't like to have it left open while we are busy doing our catching up. Yeah, that's done. Yes. So how's your week been and what's coming up in the week ahead? I'm looking forward to doing something new, another new challenge this coming week, and I'll fill you in on it. I'll be having another visitor. Meanwhile, the trees are doing well. I rewatered them again. I refilled the bottles, but I noticed that some of the bottles, the water doesn't, yeah, this one so far so good. The water doesn't drain into the ground easily. So I'll just keep studying them as I fill them. I'm going to fill them again tomorrow. Tomorrow is Monday. I filled them on Thursday. I'm going to fill them again on Monday, tomorrow, and then check and see what it is that makes some of the bottles, the water not get absorbed into the ground. Or is it absorbed fast? But the other ones had taken, since my son was here, they had taken more than 2 weeks and they hadn't been absorbed in the ground. So I'll be looking to find out what that is. For those of you who went to church, I hope you're feeling satisfied in the soul. I hope you've been nourished spiritually. We had a lot to do in preparation for the visitors that are coming, and we still needed to listen to the word of God. We watched a church service on television. It wasn't Catholic, though I'm Catholic. I grab what I do because the person I'm living with is also not Catholic, so I have to find a balance. So we watched a service online that was streaming. That went well. We've received the word for today. We're just going to have a nice lazy family Sunday, and you'll be with us. It's very hot, very, very hot. I need to start studying what are the colors for which airline. They pass here so often. I just know a few of the bigger ones and of course KQ, but I think I need to be keener. Then I'll start knowing that it's Emirates, that is KQ, which of the airlines has passed. There are no more updates about the farm. What has caught, what isn't catching up with the plants. With this heat of Ruai and the soil drying up, you just leave it to God and you put every effort you can, but what is going to remain in the soil will remain in the soil. What will not, will not. So welcome. Thank you for those of you who are returning subscribers. Welcome to my channel. Please remember to like and subscribe. Let's go. We have Matumbo in the house, and yes, you're welcome if you're nearby. If I could post it online for you, I would, but I've been craving for this all week, and somehow only God knows whether it's by karma. Gigi knew that that's what I needed and that's what she brought. So yeah, I'm going to have a chompious day and happy about it. He has forgotten about me. And yes, the tattoos are ours and we like them like that. So after about an hour of walking around, of course my little king is tired, so we're bringing him back in. He'll probably be sleeping in a few, and then we can get on with the rest of the plans for the day and bonding. Skip was brought up by Gigi since he was a very young pup. She stayed with him about 3 months before she brought him to me, so he knows Gigi as his human mother, as his other human mother. I'm one human mother and then Gigi is the other human mother. And he also knows my son Levi as his human dad. So whenever he sees these two people, because they're the ones who spent time with him the most when he was young, he just gets over the moon. So the whole of today he's been like, he doesn't want to leave Gigi's side. And he's a dog, but he now understands so much about baby. So when we go for a walk, we go with him. When we are doing stuff, we do with him. If we are eating anything, we must get a share. Yeah, because Skip is our dog, he's our pet, but he's also part of the family. So we do everything, making sure he also benefits from everything that we have. Yeah, it's just an easy evening. We had thought we'd go somewhere, but with a small baby and the weather looking very, you can see the cloudiness. We are very unsure about how it might turn out, and we had wanted to go swimming, but it might turn out to be very different and then adversely affect us being with the baby. So we're just staying in, doing some bonding, and of course I told you the priority person, my little king. Yeah, so yes, karibuni sana. We're just taking a walk around. The advantages of having a very big compound is for moments like this when you want to walk baby in the pram, so it's easy. He'll have a lot of hours or a lot of minutes of fun being pushed around in the compound, because there's a lot of space, without having to have any fears that you might get on the road and you're with a child that is in a pushchair or a pram. And when the ground is clear like now, it's a further added advantage, because sometimes the ground is not as nice. Oh, by the way, Gigi, you noticed that the fence got, yeah, it was trimmed. Then the tops are not even, because what they're going to do is that, you see the shorter places, the shorter places will, as they grow, as the fence grows, it will, you see, like that one is very even. Yes. Yeah, they'll come and get even. They'll fill up. So the ones which are much shorter were left like that, and then the higher ones will now be the leveling point. But now for, you see, this one is very intact up to there, except near the gate where some cows passed through yesterday, the day before yesterday. Where? Some calves. Someone had brought to feed them here to feed. And I noticed Masai is also brought theirs today. So there's a shortcut somewhere in this fence, a porous area. So we are going to fill that one near the gate. And then now this one, I was told, you see, we've planted some of the cuttings. But I was told by the gardener that we need to buy this kind of tree. This one, it grows, yeah, like a brush. And then we plant very many along the fence rather than do this kalialia again. Yes. It's more beautiful. I hear. Yeah, and it grows very fast. I hear. Yeah, so he said, because he told me by the time I do bougainvillea and everything else I needed, they are good, but they need the rain. And they take long to grow. But he said this one, if we can just get many of them, so I think when it's almost about to rain, we can get like 15 of them. And plants? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because they'll usually be like 50 bob, I think. Yes. So that's what we are going to do. That will actually be very beautiful. Yeah, he said it will be easier for them. I'm thinking it will take a while. Yeah. If we are to go the old way. Yes, if we are going the old way, it's going to be, yeah. But now he said, if we also, when we buy, you see, like what I'm always saying, we don't buy plants that are very small. He said the same thing. We buy plants that are 2-3 feet tall, so that as they grow, they'll keep on trimming the front and the back, the front and the back. Then the plants will now fill in the gaps. These gaps will not be visible at all. But the fence is going to look very beautiful. Yeah, so we'll keep on walking, baby. strolling him, and he's enjoying. You see the weather, it's cool, it's sunny a bit and cool, so it's a very good weather for everybody. It's comfortable to be out. We can't really say that maybe it might hurt baby or it might hurt some of us. Oh yeah, I'm in pants, so it was a bit chilly in the morning, but now it's getting on hot or cold. Last week there's a time I was shooting a video and I told it had drizzled and we thought it was going to rain that day. It did not rain.
Oh, good.
So Ruai, I mean, we have two sides. We are on the windward side. No, I can't say we're on we have hills. We have the hills at the Komarok Hill. The next hill is the Kilimambogo Hill, and then to the, this is east west, and then to the north, to the southish, we have southeast, we have the Machakos Hills. So between the southeast and just one small hill in the east, and a range of hills that's very far away in the northeast, we have a very, very large span of ground, of land that is flat. And so when the wind comes in from the hills on the leeway side of the hills that are surrounding us, to the east, to the southeast, to the southeast, east and northeast, they come very harshly over Ruai. And that's why Ruai is often very dry. I mean, you'll hear the whole of Nairobi is raining, the whole of Nairobi has rain. Very many times, I can count so many times, I can't count actually, how many times we've come. Nairobi is raining very heavily. We come via Mombasa Road, via the airport road. We get to Embakasi, it's raining very hard. We get to Utawala, it's raining very hard. You come to Ruai, there's not been a drop. The ground is dry. Because the wind comes with a lot of momentum, because we are in the plains, we are at the ways at the edge of the plain, getting onto the starting curve of Manyata and onto Utawala. So the wind is still very strong and pushes away the clouds and the rain, if there are any drops that are actually falling over Ruai, supposed to, and then moves them on to Utawala, main airport region, and Embakasi and Mwiki, and we are left without rain. And that's why Ruai is more semi-arid, of course. But as culturally, as a Kamba, we say that tuawiwe na kasele kowawa. We got bewitched, and the witch doctor, because he uses a calabash, he broke it. I mean, Ruai as a place, us in Ruai, that's a Kamba tradition, what we say when a place has so much dryness, that the witch who bewitched that place broke the calabash that had the healing power, so you can't redo the calabash. Yeah. So of course, for Gigi, it's always a picturesque moment, an opportunity to grab photos with my little king. And today he's being so cooperative because he's holding a whole packet of bubble gum, and it's something that his hand can hold, and then a phone. So he's very happy. So people, I've never come out vlogging on this side, so today I'm going to show you where our local primary school is. I'm on the board of management of that school as a volunteer. I volunteer to help with children, and I did a lot post-corona, so I was invited to be part of the board. So we are involved in just helping the school the rest of the school administration, the teachers, the head teacher, to do daily management of the affairs of the school, not the actual classwork, but just general affairs of the school, as regards the local government's assistance, managing the finances, ensuring the finances are well run, and then looking after development projects, seeing to it that the children's welfare is managed as it should according to the guidelines of the Ministry of Education. So that's my home. If you remember the previous videos I had done of the fence, there's an improvement. So this is the junction that have come from. You remember when I was telling you that the water goes that way, comes from here, meets the one that is coming down from the Manyata side and diverts into that junction there. So this is the extent of my fence, right up to where this tree is. Yes, but you can see it's been trimmed, and then the lower parts have been left. They're going to fill in the gaps, what I was talking with my Gigi earlier on. So I'm proud, at least that's another milestone that I've been wanting to do, and which is done, which is now done. Then the cows that were getting into my place, my neighbor has fenced his lot, but the next lot after his, some herders, what they do is they come and cut the fence if it's a lot that someone is not inhabiting. It doesn't have a temporary shelter or a semi-permanent house, and so that one doesn't have any semi-permanent house. So what they did is they've cut the fence, and then the cows are able to pass through the intersecting fence, which is also like mine. It's a live fence, and it's not very thick, so the cows are able to pass there, or they're able to be guided through there and enter onto my neighbor's lot and then into my lot. And the fear of that is that they'll destroy my trees, which I've been working on so hard. But luckily so far, the destruction that has been done has not affected the trees. So this is how the pathway of where the water comes, where I am right now. This is coming from school, then it diverts to go to my house and go ahead towards where I was talking about Barikiwa, or it goes down this side. This is called Acacia Road, or it goes this side and then it perforates through gaps that have got low levitation and then enters into the estate. But now I want to take you to come along with me to go where the school is. The school is that way. I think I showed you in the previous video when I was talking about the waterways. The school is that way, and there's just one diversion ahead, and then we get onto there. I didn't want to film the people coming in from church and going for walks, so we are just going to go along there. I told you not all the plots here are inhabited. So we are going to see this one has a tenant, and then this other side I have my neighbor. This has been a resident who's been here for very long. And this one has also been a resident who's been here for so long. But a lot of the residences here, the people came recently. They've not been here long, because we also came here very recently. But residences that have been here more than 10 years, you can count them. They are very few, because about 10-15 years ago, people used to know the only 10 or so houses. Can I say 15 years that were here? But now we have new developments. So this is another empty lot. You can see they are beautiful. There's a lot of beautiful and major construction going on for the people settling here. Hii inaitwa selfie stick ama gimbal, gimbal. Yeah, some children going to mnaenda kucheza ball. Oh, they are asking what this long thing is called. Yeah. So sasa yeah, it's Sunday afternoon, so the streets are not as empty, because there are people who are either coming in from church or with children who've had a weekend. They are meeting up with their friends, and this is maybe one of the busier. On Saturday, it will very likely be very, very the roads will be empty. There's a likelihood of them being empty. So not all the roads, but many, except where there are many residences that have children. But on Sunday, especially Sunday afternoon, everybody is busy closing business or making sure everything is rounded up well enough for the start of Monday. So the roads are busy. People are escorting one another. People have had visitations. Some are leaving church late. So yeah, and today's weather is so magnificent. It has now changed. You can see just scant clouds. Yeah, and people, residents of Ruai, have caught up with the fashion and the discipline of planting trees. I call it a discipline because we know the importance of planting trees. It's not just for beauty, it's also for our health and also for our environment and to boost the weather patterns. So I can say that some fields are beginning to get tilled. It's very shaky right now with tilling land in Ruai because the weather is so unpredictable. But like here, you can see this person. He normally irrigates, so I'm not sure whether he's the one who will be doing it again this time, but he's a water supplier, so normally he'll till his land, but he'll irrigate. I myself have not started, I haven't cultivated my ground in readiness for planting, and I don't think I shall because the rain is so erratic. But here it depends with every individual's decision how you prefer to do things. So you can see where I've come from. That's now my place. You see what I told you? There are so many children on the road. Yeah, and here we walk long distances. You can imagine if I told you each plot is 100 by 100. So people walk very far. I can't emphasize that enough. To go to church, to go to school, to go and visit friends. These children might have come from a church about 1 kilometer away or somewhere there was a function. They had the information, the news. They all went and they're on the way back home. So this is where the compound of the school starts. It's called Highway Manyata Primary and Junior Secondary. Anyway, the school has a very big acreage and we had problems with the ownership of the school before, but we got in touch with the local administration and the administration at Ministry of Education, Saseni, and we managed to settle the issue of the ownership of the school. So now we have the title deed and we were able to demarcate it so that we got some acreage as a primary school, and then the kindergarten and younger school is now called, and the baby class. So we demarcated so that we have the primary school in one side, we have the babies in another section, and then we gave the secondary a bit of the land also. We have a piece of land demarcated for a college, a technical, well now we've gone TVET and technical. That's going to come up later on, a college. So the land was able to be divided among all of us. Because the square acreage was very big, it was almost being grabbed, so we were able to get it back, to get the paperwork, because I remember I told you that land, unless you have to do your due diligence for it. So we did the due diligence as the school administration board and managed to find out what was required for us to get the paperwork done. And I can thank the people at Embakasi Ranching and also our local elected leaders who helped very much, and we managed to get it. So this is the school, and I'll give you a history of the development we've done so far. So initially when I came onto administration of the school, so at that time what happened was that some churches had also been awarded lots in the land through the illegal demarcation that I tell you when people don't do due diligence. And so you can see that where the secondary school is, there are semi-permanent sheds. Those were initially churches. I don't know whether they still run as churches. And that's what on Sunday it would be used as a church, and during the school days, part of it would be used for classes. Right now, I think the church has left, and the secondary school managed to get a block that was constructed through funding from the national government, CDF, which is what has also given us funding to build the main block of our school. As you can see, yes, through our local area MP, and that is one of the funding that we've been receiving for infrastructural development. But we have funding coming in to primary and secondary schools. I'll not talk about the secondary because I'm not involved in management of that. But primary schools get funding from various sources within and outside of government. For us as a school and a school board management, we've also reached out to well-wishers. I can say Rotary Utawala has been very helpful. Safaricom has come in also with equipment for sports. We've had different players coming in to assist us. But the biggest funder so far has been the NGCDF of Kasarani and our leader, our MP, Captain Karauri. So, well, this is what happens. I don't like the branding, but yeah, that's our school motto and the vision. And when I first came here to join as the board, I can tell you that this school did not have the fence. The fence is one of the latest developments that we've managed to source and acquire because we have to make applications so that when funds are being disbursed, we can be among the recipients. It takes a process. You have to be keen, and then once it is approved, you have to go through the tendering process on behalf of the school as the board, together with a whole set of individuals, a technical team that also includes the teachers, the school administration themselves. And then the school board is also includes the Parents Teachers Association. And I'm not a parent, I'm not a teacher, but I'm a community volunteer, and that's how I ended up being here. I don't want to get into the school, although I'm a board member, because there are limitations as to how much I can do this for publicity. So through through the CDF board, again, we put up the first story of the main school building. You see that whole stretch. This was done last year, and then that has received a separate funding again this year, and we've managed to build that, which we want to use for other purposes, because a laboratory is very important. We've also had a mobile laboratory. And then this is the feeding, it's the county feeding system that is in place. I'm going to put down here what it's called. So what the county government of Nairobi has done is that it has, under Governor Sakaja, they've initiated a feeding program for children, where they pay 5 shillings for a meal per day on school days. And I can say this has enabled so many children to stay in school longer, because hunger was one of those very big problems that we've been having for a very long time. Children coming to school, because we come from an area where a lot of the children are from very vulnerable homes. I mean, it took us very many years when we came here to have an enrollment of even 400 students. You'd find sometimes it would be a list of 300 students in the school, but barely 200 would be making it to the school, sometimes 100 and something. The inconsistency of attending class, of attending school, was because of hunger. This was a wide open field. It had no fence. You know, parents would come here and then they'd be so disappointed. They'd think money was coming in from government, nothing was done. They did not know the intricacies of running a school or finding funds. Although government disburses the funds, there are protocols towards utilizing those funds. And one of the very important things is establishing and confirming that children are actually in class and they are learning. You have enough teachers, the infrastructure is on point. And so for us to get a lot of these qualifications that are required for us to have funding and to have support not only from government but other key stakeholders, we had to ensure that the look of the school kept improving. We started with very basic things like ensuring that children had uniform, and I think this is one of the biggest jobs I had with my organization MIALE when I first started working with the school. I had not even joined the board of management at that point, but I had a very high concern coming out of COVID and seeing that so many children were out of school, those who had been in school before, and then we had a very, very high number of children whose parents had relocated from different places because of the hardship of COVID and had come to this area because of the availability of manual jobs. But they could not afford to take children to school because admitting a child meant buying uniform for them, buying leather shoes for them, buying a bag for them, buying books for them. And when I say that this area has a very high vulnerable community, please trust me, because they make up the biggest number of workers. A lot of the homeowners here, not all the lots here are occupied. So the population of Ruai, this Manyata, Makongeni area is not very high, but it is increased by the amount of people that are here who are either renting or are here to make a living. They are not homeowners, but they rent here, or they are keeping lots for people who want their lands protected, and they have their families because they come and they grow. Ruai is so placed that because of the size of the land that we have per person, per owner, it's very easy and very plausible and very feasible to do farming. So there's a lot of, when the season with farming season is on, and then even when the farming season is not on, there's ongoing construction almost every time. So people find work very easily. And so at that point when I first came to this school, and before I even considered or was considered for anything by the head teacher who was then here, I'd bring in children, and I got the assistance of the chief, the local chief here, which is a local government administrator level. I got help from churches, I got individuals to help out with my organization. Everywhere I did a lot of fundraising, and I worked with a lot of people, even the community members themselves. I asked people whose children were transferring to other schools or leaving school to hand over the uniform to give to children who are needy, who needed to be admitted. I enlisted help of the local police force to ensure that people who are not bringing children to school were forced to actually let the children come to school. Because believe you me, there are parents who just neglect their children. It is not all the time that people do not have money. And so at the onset of my work, I found that a lot of children were at home, were suffering under the hands of the parents. Parents were keeping on saying that Corona had put them in a difficult situation, but they were not trying. They were not going out to look for jobs. They were not improving the welfare of themselves or their children. And so I purposely went out from home to home in a stretch of my local area, which is Manyata area, Makongeni area, and almost I can say up to Acacia area, and just within the precincts of my immediate local area. And I went home to home picking, and I'd ask people, the residents here were very helpful. I'd ask them, where do you know where there's a child who doesn't go to school? Where do you know where there's a child who is being left at home with other children? Well, the parents go to work, and this child is of school-going age. Where do you know where there is a child? At the school, I asked them, can you please identify for me children who come to school? They have no shoes, they don't have adequate uniform, and can I work with these children and find out who their parents are, where their parents are, do an investigation into the background of who the parents are, where they are staying, what their conditions are. And I can tell you, and it is very sad, in majority of the cases, it was just a question of neglect. They were lazy parents. They were parents who were just surviving. They were happy to have handouts, to have donations. And I can say I also contributed to that a lot, because I did do a lot of donating, a lot of giveaways, a lot of handouts, until I realized that that was not the best way to go. We now changed the strategy and then started enabling people and encouraging persons to go out and work, to go out and find their full potential, to reduce the suffrage of the children, to make effort to just go out and look for what they could, if we could feed them. I laid out a strategy where I would feed a family, or I'd feed a couple, or I'd feed a set of homes for 1 month. And within that 1 month, I would clothe them and feed them from the donations that I had, in as much as possible. I'd pay for the children, we'd enable the children to get into school. I'd do everything in my power to have the children who are of school-going age within the families to get into children. And I found that if a home got support for a month, they were not worried about food. For a month, they were not worried about the children going to school, whether they were going to go to school at all. When the children went to school, as much as possible, because I had assisted them already with food in the house, they had something to carry. And so I found that enablement helped these parents to now gather courage or energy or just have confidence enough to go and look for work themselves, and their lifestyles in these homesteads became improved. And that nothing gave me as much joy as seeing these children now going to school, them being able to feed, having more confidence around people, looking forward to going to school every day, not crying that other children were going to school and they were at home, not being forced to do very heavy chores every day because they were not going to school and they were sitting at home and they did not have confidence of having friends. And I can say that those are the things that make me so proud of my work and so happy with my work. It's a lot of giving, it's a lot of sacrifice, it causes a lot of pain sometimes, it's very draining, of course. But the fruitfulness of it, when you see the happy faces, the smiles on these children, that for me was the biggest reward. Meeting these children, and so I acquired a nickname, Teacher. Because before I started having this drive of putting them back to school, as COVID was coming to an end after the lockdown started stopping and before people could now resume school and resume work fully and everything, I had taken up children into my house and I was teaching them in the house. I had books. A lot of you, some of you here who are watching this were my donors. You gave so selflessly. You gave me pencils, you gave me pens, you gave me exercise books, you sent me money for storybooks, you sent me money for food. So I was able to provide for all the children almost up to, by the time I ended the project, I was doing about 70 children. At different times, some would drop off, some would stay on. But these children would come, I can say a maximum of 15 to sometimes 20 children per day. They would come in the morning, they'd have porridge. Some of them would come with babies, so I'd wash them, I'd sew the clothes off their back, I'd bathe them. They'd eat, they'd play, some would be playing, some would be writing. I'd just give them easy work. 10 o'clock, they'd take a break. I always gave them porridge because I had initially said they would just have tea and then do some study work to catch up with the lengthy period when they had stayed without being in school. But I quickly realized that by the time some of them arrived at my home, they were so hungry. They had not eaten, and their parents were in a desperate situation. They just wanted them to go, whether even the babies who could not learn anything. They just wanted them to be in an environment where they could at least have a meal, have some fun, and they knew they were going to watch TV. So I learned very quickly that those who came with babies, I would welcome them. I'd give all of them breakfast, ensure first of all that everybody was properly bathed, was properly wiped up and oiled. If it was cutting nails, I would cut their nails. If it was something like just brushing their hair, I would do that. I would not plait, but just making them generally neat. If somebody had torn clothes, I would sew them up. If some of them, of course, would come in conditions that were really, really, really uncomfortable, and so I'd have to ask them to bathe. And the goodness is that at that time I had so many clothes given by donors for donations. This was post-COVID. People had reached out to people and they had contributed extra generously. And so I had a lot of clothes. So whenever children came, parents were very sure that apart from changing them, feeding them, educating them, letting them watch TV, a lot of the babies, of course, would sleep. And then some of the older children who had a lot of chores to do at home. And I'd very quickly know which children were being overworked apart from the others. And I followed this even later on when they went to school, talking to their parents, talking to their teachers, ask them what to look out for to ensure that they could catch up and know why some of the children were not very alert in school. Some of the parents were overworking the children at home. They were making them do very heavy chores. They were leaving them with babies behind. The children had no confidence. It was a lot, but it all went well. And so the children and the parents branded me with the name Teacher. So in this region, if you come, do not be surprised if you ask for Josephine. They might say, are you talking about Josephine? Or do you want Teacher? Because that is the nickname that I got. And I can say that I carry it very proud, which is also now again linked to the work that I do in the community. for the school. And yes, that is the school. So this is the road back to where we had started. I've come to almost the end of the road. This is now the junction. I had zoomed out a lot. This is the junction for the road that comes to the school and goes this way. And my home, the junction to my house, is right at the end, after the school, right where those tall trees are. Yes. So coming to the water path, this is, now the water does not come down this road. Do you see how long this road is? The water does not come down here. Remember what I told you, the hills are that way. This is the expanse of the school fence going to the secondary. The secondary is, the secondary school is where those temporary shelters are. And then that one block, school block. So what the pathway of the water is that the water comes from up the hill. The hills are that way. That is Utawala side, and I'll remember the name of that other place. And then it comes down, passes through. There's a river. The river follows its course, but now this is the spillway. I don't know what to call it, but this is the wash off from various streams, unmanaged streams of water. It comes down. It had, I think, usually there's a river, I think, that had burst a bank. So it comes in through the corner of the school right over there. And it cuts across the school field up to where, behind this, you see this, the concrete block, it doesn't come in front of this block because this block is raised. At the point when this block was getting constructed, the foundation was very low, so they had to dig very deep, and the soil that they removed from the foundation surrounds the building. So around this building, the land is very high, it's very elevated. And so the water cuts across the fields, and because it cannot go onto that block, it goes behind that block. You remember the old classes I told you, the ones with iron sheet roofing, the block that is behind, the one that was the start of the school? That is where the water goes to collect. And let me tell you that it floods to knee level. In the last heavy rain that we had here, we had donations of books. There were children's desks. A lot of them got spoiled. And the water just sat there. Because it did not have a path, it created its own path. And so thankfully the former school head who was here took action very immediately, realized the pathway of the water, realized the gradient of the land, acted upon it, and created and cut furrows to divert the water. So I think we did, one furrow was done past there's a football pitch where that dry tree is. Past where that dry tree is, a furrow was dug to come onto the main road, and where that block is, the block that has which floods, in front of it he put what do you call it, a gully in front of the row of classes to drain the water. But still, that's not enough. I mean, that's again where we come in now as a school board for infrastructural development, where we need to get a plan which is going to have something like culverts like this one, deep and big culverts that can hold a lot of water, to be dug at strategic parts of the field where that natural flow of water comes through, because that's what happens every rainy season without fail. That is the path of the water. So we need culverts like this dug right through the school, and then put to have outlets along the front of the school, so that they can move with the natural flow to now go towards my house, so that if they come out onto the front of the school under the gate and then flow on and head away to rescue the children. And Of course, these are plans that would require a lot more money than what the local government can do, even through the devolved government funding. But it is possible, and that's a dream of what we hope to have. So this is the end of this road. This other road here is the highway. It's called the highway. It's an intended highway. You can see the span of the road is much wider than the road at my place. The distance between the clearance between the houses is much wider than it is at our house. So it's an intended, I think it's a planned highway that's going to go up sometime in the future. And then this is the one that goes to my place. That's it. So if you work for an organization, or if as an individual you have ways that you can help schools, not just with the infrastructural development, but maybe paying for some needy children, either school fees, or if not school fees, paying for them for activities, because public primary schools, parents still have to pay money to help pay for extra teachers, to help pay for stuff like water. Like now we have a borehole, we have electricity bills to run. What is disbursed by the government is never enough. So if you are willing and if you are able, you can always make a donation to the school. You can get in touch with me. We can arrange for a meeting with the school administration. You can come for a meeting with the school administration. You can come for a tour of the school to also come and see what else it is that the children do, what the school also does, and what else it is that you are able to help. We also have very needy children. Actually, the more vulnerable children are not in primary, because the primary, they're able largely to overcome the challenges and to go ahead. But now the children in the secondary school, those are the ones for whom my heart bleeds. Because these are young children, being teens, being prepared to start life out in this world. But a lot more times than not, you'll see many of them being asked to leave home just before exams to go and look for school fees arrears, because either the parents are having a planned payment that they're not able to meet. They do not pay a lot, because in secondary school, especially our local secondary school here, I think it's about $30. Yes, it's about $30 per year per student, including sports facilitation, including travel facilitation for when they are going for activities, drama, music. And if you're funding a child, and you're going to buy for them uniform, because in secondary school, I would imagine that the best thing is that a child has two or three sets of uniform, two basically, and three or more if they can afford it, for every 2 years. So some of them are in the 4th year of schooling. They still have uniform from the 1st year, small shirts and badly fitting trousers. They've not afforded new pair of shoes. I really feel it, because these are adolescents. Their image is so important. It's everything. Their ability to have books, to have bags is so crucial to them. They're at the age of puberty, where how they look, how they feel, how they think, it matters so much. And so I'd implore you, if you're able at all, to give any assistance. Yes, the primary school would appreciate a lot of help, and I'd appreciate, because I know there are a lot of needy children here, but I'd ask you to instead look at how you can get in touch with the head teacher and the administration of Highway Manyata Secondary School and give any assistance that you're able to. That would be very well appreciated. I've reached the end of the road, and I'm walking with the sun on my back. That's where that car is standing, raising dust. That's the end of the road, and I'm walking back home. Yes, from where I came from. So yes, this is the other road now that goes to the school, and this is a road that I've passed many times. I'm going to have to shoot to the sun on my back, because I can't walk backwards. Yeah, I know it doesn't give very good camera quality, but that's what I'm going to have to do. So this is the road also that I have traversed a lot of times, going in to see different families within the area, to give assistance, to get children going to school, to uplift women's spirits, to ensure that homes slept with some food, to give hope to people, to give upliftment, and then to encourage and to help people find alternatives and get enough courage and boosted confidence to be able to move on when they had given up in life, when they thought they were facing the worst of the times. I mean, it's never that bad. And again, one thing I always say is that there's somebody else going through a worse situation, and they're pushing forward and they're enabling themselves. So while you're sitting down and weeping and wallowing in your tears and your sorrow about what is not happening in your life, opportunity might be bypassing you because you're not even having time to grab opportunity. Keep pushing out there, keep pushing, keep trying, talk to people. You never know who you're going to talk to next that is going to tell you, I have a solution, or I have an idea of a solution. And so relentlessly all the years after COVID came, and especially the first 2 years after the lockdown ended, that was my work. Every day I was walking up and down this road. I did not have anything else to do except make sure I uplifted somebody, and I did not need to look for people. A lot of the times people just called me or met me on the road and said, oh teacher, there's this family I know, they live here, there's this happening to this child, there's this happening to this woman, there's this happening. And I found that a lot of times people are helpless because of what they were going through internally. It was not so much that they couldn't find jobs. It was not so much that they couldn't rise up and go and look for food. It was not so much that they were not able to lift themselves up and smile more often around their children or around their husbands or wives, or clean up their compound more or do anything. They were depressed. COVID affected everybody in very different ways, and for those people that do not have close family ties, it was worse. People that did not have backup contacts, people that did not have uplifters within the family, people that did not have family ties got affected much worse than the rest of us. Yeah. And I think it was a harsh reality for people. It was a wake-up call for people to get into organizations, for people to get into groups, for people to do things with other people, to find associations, different associations, to group together as women, to group together as men, to group together as teens. People found out that solidarity with others can uplift you in bad times, because those who had been standing alone fell alone, and those who had been standing with others did not fall. They just stumbled, but they were able to uplift themselves. They were able to uplift themselves together with others. When they had a little food, they were able to share. When they had a little assistance from any source, they were able to alert one another, and they would go together. But those who had the habit of just standing, feeling that they could stand it alone and do everything alone, now found difficulty, a lot of difficulty, because people were also closed up. People are not very open to letting in strangers into their lives or assisting other people, because what were you going to assist them with? And so for me, this was a very big learning curve about social development and community development and community networking, the purpose of community networking within community, not just the community itself as a whole, but individuals networking within a community. Saseni, more children coming from church. Metoka church?
Yes.
Okay, have a nice evening. Yeah, that's children coming from church. Yeah, so this is in my residence, and this part of the road where I've come from, most of the lots are inhabited. They have people. There are a few scant lots that are empty, but majority of them have people, and even if they don't have their owner residing in them, they have a caretaker or somebody at least looking after the plot to ensure that it is not grabbed. I've spoken a lot, haven't I? Yes. It's so nice, I must say. I found that vlogging for the people who do vlogging, we all know that you create a family among your viewers, among your subscribers, and you get uplifted where before you might be feeling lost because you are alone, you might feel not encouraged. But when you start vlogging, you realize that you're not alone, and somebody out there wants to hear your stories. Somebody is inspired by what you're saying, somebody is uplifted by what you're saying, and so by being uplifted, they also uplift you. And so I'm very thankful to all of you who watch my videos. It gives me a lot of encouragement. I don't have to be having 1,000 followers yet, but for the few of you who are here, I get uplifted when I see one more person has subscribed, 100 more people have viewed. I say a lot of thank you. Now look at this tree. It is full of nests. See that? Are we not blessed in Ruai? I think I should stop first and take a thumbnail of this. So guys, welcome to a wonder that is in Ruai. You know, in Ruai there are so many thorn trees. The acacia tree is very synonymous with Ruai. We are in a semi-arid place in Savannah. So look at this. This tree is full of nests. Let me take a view from a distance. That is the tree. That's a tree. That's a tree. So let me get a close-up of some of the nests. Some of them are very fresh and very new. Let me see where. There's one that is very fresh. Yeah, there. You can see that one is very fresh. And then those are the ones that are old. The holes, what happens is that, let me explain to you how these nests are. The nests, I don't know whether I'm going to have to illustrate for you, but you enter through, there's a hole at the bottom and then it curves. You enter through the nest through a hole and then it curves. And then the home is inside the curve. Yeah. So yeah, those are the nests, the multitude of nests and the birds. And this is where some of the birds that often come to my house. You remember where I'm always watching birds with the little king? This is where they nest. This is where they come from. And that's why I was telling you that. Remember the thorn tree I told you that is in the compound that my son does not allow me to cut? It is because of reasons like this. Because they become a hive for birds to nest. And since we are lovers of the environment, it's against policy for trees to be cut that harbor creatures like this. You can just hear the cries, the cries. I think there are a lot of chicks in there and some of the birds are in here right now, but you can't see them. It's not very easy to see them. Let me try and see if I can catch them from the side. Yeah, these ones definitely have chicks, but I'm not seeing any of the birds at all. Let me be silent so that you can listen. So this is the head teacher's office. He has a semi-permanent construction structure. That's where his house, the head teacher is housed. And the path of the water is cutting across the fields, coming behind this block. And this is the block to which it comes, this with the green roofing. It comes right to this block and then drains off this block with a green sheet and drains off. And this is the little runoff that was created by the former head teacher who was here. But as you can see, it's really nothing compared to having a culvert, a deep culvert created here, because the water here then floods this region. At least we are lucky that the area MP put some maram on this road, and another individual from the office also increased it up to here. But here, the water from this point up to where my house is, this is just normally a valley, a river valley. It's very unfortunate because children pass there, and my fear is always that one of these days tragedy might strike. There's a culvert here, but it's just one culvert in so many roads. This road is passable. Again, an affluent individual has made that possible, and yeah, to their home. We remain to find out if an affluent individual is also going to come and make this other little stretch going up to my house, coming from the junction of the school here and going up to the junction near my house. Whether another affluent individual or whether the local administration might find it possible and worthy to come and clear this part of the road again because of the children. Because they are my greatest worry and they really suffer a lot when it's raining. I'm filming and I'm seeing an individual sitting here, so me and my camera, I'm not seeing anybody else on the road. Let me cross. It might be just a small way, but I just have to be careful still. So whenever you're in Ruai area and you see a section of the road has been dug, crossing the road and there's rough, clear signs of digging, recent digging and turning of the soil, and you see a pipe, know that this is somebody who has bought piped water, because what happens is that a few people dig boreholes and then they supply water to our homes. So this is somebody whose residence is receiving water anew, and it seems like here what they did, they have some pipes that are already on the ground, so they made a diversion of the pipe, crossed it under the road which already has some inlaid pipes, and went and joined it further up to go and supply somebody. That's how we get water in Ruai, because we don't have water and sewage services yet. The commonality of having a lot of sisols are that sisols are the ones that are used for demarcation of lots here in Ruai by Embakasi ranching from the inception of the ranch, because the whole of Ruai was initially I think as let me not say a ranch, but it was a lot that was run by a company that was called Embakasi Ranching. I think it's the same company where my grandfather worked as manager back in the 70s or 80s. Yes, I think it is. And that extended all the way from Komarok, because if I remember right, I think the ranch used to be somewhere either on Komarok or before or after Komarok, coming towards Katani or something, and used to overlook a ranch. So I don't think there's another ranch. I think it is the same ranch which was later subdivided, and because cattle keeping on a large scale in large ranches just went on getting diminished in the country, they later sold the pieces of land and found out that they could make it residential lots, and that's how it came to be Embakasi ranching. So it's early evening. I told you that whenever I walk around home, I can't just walk direct and arrive where I'm going. I always meet people. So I met a friend of mine who's not tech savvy. So I was telling her about my channel, because she asked me, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm shooting my vlog for YouTube and also some photos, and I might shoot something for TikTok. And she was like, oh, I hear about TikTok, I hear about YouTube, I don't have them. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put for you. Then I just thought, on second thought, why should I let her use her bundles to download the apps? So I've asked her to come by home later on. I download for her YouTube and also TikTok, and at least she has Facebook. I show her how to utilize them fully, and because she runs a small business, how to also open her own account, because in Kiswahili we say kila mtu alizaliwa na bahati yake. Everybody was born with their own luck. So who am I not to encourage somebody to also try their luck in creating content? Yes, I told her it's possible for everybody, and who your content attracts is not who my content attracts. It might attract different people. If it attracts the same people again also, there's nothing wrong with that. But at least it's good to give it a shot and see where it takes you. So yeah, I'm glad for that. I'm finally back home, and then I've realized that it's because I usually shoot videos when I'm walking, and then I'm breathing heavily. I've also put on a bit of weight, so it's not just a question of I'm always walking, but yes, because I also walk fast sometimes. Today I've gone at an easy pace. The little king must be missing me. Yeah, let me go and be with him. I'm so proud of that fence. It's looking nice when it's all even like that. What do you think? Huh? Yeah. That looks beautiful. That's better. That's much better. Yeah, I like that. So yeah, once as it will keep improving as time goes. It will keep on improving, being much better, and I think in a year's time, God willing, when we come and look at this fence from the same angle, Sasa, when we come and look at this fence from the same angle, it's going to be looking very different, very nice, and everybody will be proud for it, especially me. So I'm getting home. This is my side gate, and I'll close the video here.